Welcome to Soul Soil, a podcast where we slow down, get still, and tend to the deeper parts of who we are. I'm your host, Latoya Cooper, and this is a space for women who are ready to grow, not just on the surface, but from the inside out. Here we talk about holistic wellness, healing rhythms, and soul-centered living. Because just like the earth, we thrive when our roots are nourished. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin. Hey friends, so welcome to Soul Soil. This is our very first episode of our journey together. So today I just want to open the door wide and invite you in because this isn't just a podcast. It's a space, a place for the tired, the curious, the in-between, and the becoming. It's a place where we explore wellness that goes deeper, beneath the surface, down to the roots, because we're not here to just feel better. We're here to be rooted, to be aligned, to be whole. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why surface level wellness isn't cutting it. Okay. And we've seen it before, right? I mean, the perfect routines, the perfect, carefully curated self-care lifestyle goals. But what if you're doing all of that and you're still feeling off? And you're not alone because I've been there too. I've gotten up, I've done the yoga, the meditation, journaling, made sure I was hydrated. But even with doing all that, I still felt a bit disconnected. But what I didn't realize was that I was skipping over the deeper parts of me. Those parts like the grief, the longing, the rest that I never gave myself, the joy that I forgot to make room for. Because even when, like for instance, like sometimes things can happen in our lives and we can have interactions with people even, and we'll just kind of brush it off like, whatever, I'm just going to keep it moving and I'm better than this, whatever. But the truth is that sometimes you have to make the space to actually deal with the hurt that we're experiencing instead of just brushing it off like it didn't happen. But that's when I knew that what I really needed wasn't more productivity, but it was permission to go deeper. So let me just kind of tell you a quick story. And if you have been following me since Asanas and Wellness, then you probably already know a bit about my wellness journey. But if not, and if you are totally new and you don't know who the heck I am, who's this girl? Let me just real quick, let me give you the quick version. But basically, many years ago, and I'm not really good with time, so I can't at this point I can't tell you how long ago it was, but I was probably in my mid to late 20s. I'm in my early to mid 40s now. But yeah, so about 20 years ago, I guess, I just really just didn't feel like I had a grip on life. Even into my early 30s, I would say, like I just didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I really just felt like I was in an endless loop of just, doing all the things because I was taking care of my family. I have 3 kids who are all grown now, but back then they were my whole life. And so ended up, you know, the right people in my path. Of course, after a total breakdown, God brought the right people in my path who were willing to, who took the time to teach me different things about wellness. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to teach you, but it was like they did certain things and they were like, hey, you want to try this? Like one of the first things was food. Do you want to try, this green juice I made and these juices? I'm gonna bring you a juice, and it's good for you, and kind of just learning and learning about food for energy and eating more plant-based foods, and then went on to learn other things. Eventually, meditation, and then yoga, and yoga like really was the icing on the cake. So I wanted to learn more about it. Went to yoga teacher training to learn more. Decided that I wanted to teach it. I didn't go in with the intention to teach it, but that's what happened. So after that, I was a yoga instructor, and that was up until 2023. I think it was 20. Yeah, I started teaching yoga in 2020. 2023, in 2023 was when everything changed. And that's where I kind of want to start this story. Okay, so in 2023, many of you, you may know, you may not know, at the end of 2023, I decided that I was just going to focus full time on my real estate career. Um, and because it's something that I know that God called me to do a long time ago. And honestly, it's been amazing. And it was great. It started off, of course, with like what am I supposed to be doing? But by April 2024, things were going really good for me. I mean, things were rolling. If there was a definition of booked and busy, I was it. I mean, but it didn't feel like work because I truly enjoyed it, and I felt a lot of purpose in it. The same type of excitement and purpose that I felt when I would teach yoga or wellness, because I know that was what God put me here for. So, of course, with the busyness, I already was feeling a little disconnected in my practices and in my routine. And to be honest, looking back, it really was becoming more of a task. Like, okay, I know that I should be doing these things in the morning. It's just a routine. So I do those things. But, they really weren't, I really wasn't allowing those practices to really kind of touch the inner parts of me. I could do a practice, I can be journaling, and putting, what's on my mind, but at the same time, I have other things going on in my mind, and I can't even sit for 30 minutes and just journal. You know, Basically, it was just a lot, and what it amounted to was just me unintentionally trying to heal from the outside in and just kind of doing the things because these things will make me feel better. But we all know it doesn't work that way. It has to start from the inside out. And so really on the outside, I hit a wall pretty much, and I looked like I had it all together, but really I was unraveling. I was functioning, but I was not thriving, and I was helping others, and I felt good about it, but I was forgetting about me. And to be honest, I really didn't feel safe enough to slow down until everything demanded that I do so. And it was painful in that moment, but it also cracked something open, and it made room for healing. And that healing wasn't loud and flashy. It came quietly. It came through prayer, fasting, meditation, and just stillness, okay? And really, I had to relearn my rhythms. During that time, I definitely, one of the things that that I was really happy about when I think back on the journey of the last couple of years was how it allowed me to get closer to God and really just strengthen my connection with God. Um, and during a time of one of my times of prayer and fasting, he led me to a scripture, 3 John 1 and 2, which the King James Version says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers." And I really took a lot of time to reflect on that because, you know, we're we're supposed to be in health. We're supposed to be prosperous, and not just prosperous in health and prosperous in our bank accounts and in our relationships, but we're supposed to be prosperous in our souls. And so that was what led me here. And that's why I created Soul Soil, because I needed a space like this. And I believe that I'm not the only one. The reason Soul Soil, when you think about a plant, whether it's an indoor plant or even outside, the trees or your outdoor plants, whenever it comes to, like, for instance, if I have a plant and it starts to look droopy, like something's not right with it, there's one of four things that I'm going to do. For one, I may just water it. You just may need to just water the soil. I may need to just put some fertilize the plant, and it just may need that, fertilize the soil. Or I may need to just maybe add a fresh coat of soil on top. But sometimes I have to actually replant it with all new soil, sometimes even moving it to another whole pot. But regardless, the things that we look at, in order to keep that plant healthy, all involve the soil. The soil creates the environment. It's the space that allows everything to kind of be absorbed and to go into the roots and to make this plant look strong and beautiful and like it's just thriving. Okay, so it's the same thing with our souls. We have to water and nourish the soil of our soul so that all of the things that we are meant to do, that we're called to do, that we need to do, that we are creating an inner environment where we can do those things, and we can do those things without feeling depleted. Okay? And we're able to just be sustained. All right. So what does it mean to go deeper? Okay. So what I mean when I'm talking about going deeper, it means that we stop performing, we stop patching symptoms, we listen. It means that we stop running from our bodies and we learn to live in them. It means that we ask our souls, what do you need today? And then we wait for the answer. It's not about hustle wellness, but this is soul rooted wellness, the kind that anchors you and, the kind that doesn't fall apart when life gets messy, but the kind that kind of sustains you and keeps you grounded. So here's what to expect from this podcast. These episodes, you can expect episodes that feel like cozy little girl chats, okay? Like you're sitting right here on the couch beside me, all right? Mostly solo, just me and you, but from time to time we'll have guests also who, can share their insights and their stories. And we'll talk about things like rest, nervous system healing, spiritual rhythms, creativity, seasonal living, and soul tending practices, things like that. And every episode will end with something to reflect on, okay? Because this podcast isn't something that you just listen to. It's something to live. I wanted to give you something to live. Now, this is launch week. So being a launch week, you'll actually get 2 episodes because I know this episode 1 is more about what, Soul Soil is about. So I wanted to also make sure to give you a second episode as well. Starting next Monday, 1 episode. But I still wanted to, even though this is launch week and you'll have 2 episodes, I still wanted to give you some things to reflect on, okay, even with this. And here are a few questions that I want you to maybe work on within the next day or so in your journal. First question, what does deeper wellness mean to you? Secondly, what season are you in right now? Are you in a planting season, a blooming season, or a resting season? And number 3, what's one small way that you can tend to your soul soil this week? Now, you'll find these written out in the show notes, okay? So don't worry if you didn't catch them. They're down there. And there's no pressure with this. It's just an invitation to slow down and tend to the parts, that often get overlooked. Well, thank you so much for being here. If this episode spoke to you and you're excited about this journey, go ahead and subscribe and send it to someone else who's ready to grow as well. Until next time, keep growing. I'll see you soon.